Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video. And the portal is alight with the red hue, but also the golden hue, because we have a very special circumstance where we have in the exact same day an overlap between 2x Sacreds and 2x Primals, that being a true 2x on Primals, meaning boosted rates for Epics, Legendaries, and Mythical Champions. And because I do have an abundance of shards, this is still a good opportunity for me to pull some shards and try to go for some rewards in the champion chase. So in this case, since we're going to be doing both shard types, yes, indeed, both shard types, might as well. The rates are live for both of them, but we're going to try and see if I can get all the way out here to the 7,500, so the Mythical Tome. I definitely know I have enough shards to do it, but I also don't want to, bleed myself dry necessarily. So we'll kind of play it by ear a little bit in terms of how the RNG is flowing and kind of go based off that. But the goal, at least for now, is to get out to 7,500. Now, on the flip side, trying to win the tournament, that's definitely out of reach. I would love to get, 500 player points, but we're definitely not going to try and compete with 20,000 points. That's way outside of the realm of possibility for us. So we're not really doing that. Although even then, getting the 7,500 might actually, no, yeah, 7,500 is outside of the top 10, which is unfortunate. So that kind of sucks, but I was hoping to get some player points, but my group is apparently filled with a lot more tryhards than myself, so we are not going to compete in that. So yeah, Mythical Tome is going to be the target. So let's hop on over to the portal and take a look at the overall shard count. My account at the moment, 601 on the Ancients, 251 on the Voids, 62 on the Primals, which of course we'll be diving into today, but also 63 on the Sacreds, which we will also be diving into today. Now, as I mentioned, there is going to be a lot of RNG with how many shards we're going to be pulling today, but bare minimum, I've set the floor at 10 Sacreds, so I do want to at least pull 10 Sacreds, and we get what we get, and then I'll try and fill in the rest with some of the Primals. Ideally, 30 would get us the rest of the way, and then maybe up to 40 if need be. So ideally, no more than 40 on the Primals, and then no more than 10 on the Sacreds. Granted, with full disclosure, that is somewhat assuming that we do proc a Legendary at least once across both of the different shard types. And in order to kind of facilitate that idea, let's hop over to the Mercy Tracker, which will be linked in the description box down below if you'd like a copy of this for yourself to use. But we are not in Mercy for Sacreds, but of course, pulling 10 Sacreds will push us into Mercy on top of having the boosted rate. So the odds are just better overall that we're going to get a Legendary regardless, but we're also going to be entering Mercy a little bit. And the worst case, if we don't happen to get a Legendary there, then we're in Mercy. If for the next Sacred Pogo, whenever that may be, then we're in Mercy and we can go react appropriately for that. However, I do also anticipate that there's definitely going to be a Summon Rush as part of the upcoming fusion that starts next week. So most likely we're going to have to pull Sacreds for that anyways, and that might bust Mercy if we don't bust it here today. In terms of the Primals, you can see that we are relatively speaking fresh off of a mythical pull, so we're not expecting any mythicals for the day. Again, we're doing a relatively small amount of Primals. But we should cross into Mercy as well for a Legendary from the Primal Shard. So we'll see if that will produce anything useful as well. In terms of who we're looking for from our shards, I'm still in the market for some Legendaries. We're going to focus on those today. So my top three are Poison Exploder, Xavier, or Eleanor. Number 2 would be Molly Tankard, and number 3 would be Elva Autumnborn. But of course, we should also be getting some epics along the way. So any and all duplicate epics for empowerment will be useful. So without further ado, let's dive right in to the pool, starting off with the 10 Sacreds. Can we start it off with a fresh gold pull here, or do we start it off with a purple epic to be expected? Ruella, rather, if I could speak. But a decent champion, good for like single target debuffing, really reliable triple hitter here with like 75% chance to place each on every single hit. So it's a very reliable form of debuffing. I think for me, that is the last copy to make her +4 empowered on my account. So we'll take that 250 points in the bag. I guess also I should mention the bare minimum that we can get from 10 Sacreds is 2,500 points. But again, I'm somewhat hopeful that we'll get a Legendary from 10 Sacreds, but you never know that we could get some bad RNG here. So Geomancer, one of the most popular PvE epics in the game, of course, famous for the HP burn here, synergizing with the passive to basically have a Giant Slayer Pox reflect onto enemies, so good for that. But also somewhat underrated, he does have a single target buff strip here on the A2, which can come in handy depending on the fight. 8 more Sacreds to go. What else can we get here? Another epic in the mix, and this is Elisanya, one of the Lady Mikage epics, and that's basically her only purpose, unfortunately. Not useful to me though, as I already have the fusible Lady Mikage. 4th Epic in a row, Fire Gun Isbale, who is like budget Nishak for Bommel. I think you need 2 of her to make it work in a similar way to like the Nishak one-shot type composition, but nonetheless it could work if that is your fancy. But for me, I have Nishak Verminlord, so I don't need a copy of her, so she is not really going to be used on my account. Probably a food champion. Rearguard Sergeant, this is a duplicate for Empowerment. She's kind of fallen off by the wayside, but you know, if you're more in the early game, Nested Ally Protection is definitely the way to go for developing your first Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare Clan boss teams. And then later on, she'll probably help you out a little bit in Faction Wars and whatnot. I don't know about Faction Wars hard mode. I haven't seen her utility come into play here. And a legendary. And hey, you know what? I'm not mad about this because Lord Chamfort has been on my like secondary wish list for a very, very, very long time because of his passive here, where like he's basically the best champion in the game for Iron Twins if you want to do it the more air quotes traditional way, because whenever he is attacked, once you book it on a 1-turn cooldown, he just places decrease speed on the enemy. In this case, the Iron Twins, meaning that you'll basically keep it up the entire time, regardless of whether or not the boss cleanses himself, because he will do another attack, which will attack Lord Chamfort and thus replace the decrease speed on him. On top of that, he can also help keep your team alive in certain fights, placing decrease attack, decrease accuracy, which again in Iron Twins can help you take less damage or take resist some of the Iron Brand stacks and whatnot, which could keep your team alive. And obviously decrease attack means you take less damage, and then decrease defense on the A1. So he's not the strongest champion in the game, but in terms of Iron Twins and a more traditional team, which is what I happen to run, he will definitely come into play. So I am more than happy about that one. Probably happy than more people or most people would actually be to pull out Lord Chamfort. So we'll take it. And there's our not quite Mercy pull. I think that we were just outside of Mercy for that one, but nonetheless, hey, 2x Sacreds, this is what can happen. So Mercy is reset, meaning that we're in a better position for the fusion, assuming there is, you know, again, a summon rush where we're gonna have to do a little bit more. So we still have a handful of Sacreds to go. No back-to-back today. That's definitely happened a couple times, but not today apparently. Galcut, I think he has some bombs. He might be useful or necessary depending on your champion selection. For I think Ogren Tribe's hard mode Faction Wars, I think you have to use bombs at some point, so he might come in handy. But for now, I've not built him or used him at all ever. Another epic here, Mist Rider Dahi, super fun, and one of the most fun like epic debuffers in the game. Extra turns on literally every single ability, but mostly just decrease defense AoE here, increase attack on himself, increase accuracy. So super good. That is definitely going to be empowerment. I don't know if mine's +3 or +4, but it's going to be empowerment, so we'll definitely take it. 2 Sacreds to go. So this is basically exactly kind of what I wanted to see. 1 legendary, meaning that we're rough. I think we should be at 3,000 points instead of 2,500. So that's kind of exactly where I wanted to end up. And then hopefully we can get, it might be a tall order, but maybe we can get 4,000 points from our primal shards. Or if all else fails, I do have some remnant summons and some other things I could dive into if need be. But Masamoto may be useful like in certain situations like Cursed City DPS, but I've never built them for that purpose. I think you're better off trying to use other champions. And then Occult Brawler, old school poisoner with the A1 that can place poisons alongside his passive, but not really useful in the modern era. So there we go, 10 Sacreds and 1 legendary in the bag. We'll definitely take that. So now we hop over to the primals. And for this set, I'm now going to start keeping a little bit more track of the points in the champion chase. So like I said, we should be around 3,000 points based off the Sacreds. That was kind of where I wanted to be on paper. And this is definitely the wild card of the session. So let's get it going. Let's get it cracking here, starting off with a fresh 10 pop of primals. Again, ideally we get it done in 3 10 pops, maybe 4. That might be super like I guess maybe an overestimation of the odds here, but I'm hoping that we get 3 to 4 epics or 5. Hey, there you go. That's definitely a great start. 4 epics per, or 3 epics per 10 pop is like the average, but I'm hoping that we can be a little bit above that and get like 4. But here, notable ones, Dur the Hunger, that's going to be empowerment, the only reviver for Demon Spawn that I have because I don't have Duchess. And then Melga Steel Girdle, I think that's also empowerment for her, which does help her stay alive, gives her more HP, which helps her heal, helps her shield and whatnot. Chani and Chinoru, not that much exciting. So yeah, that was a great start. 4,300 in the champion chase. Next 10 pop here. Again, ideally, we just keep that trend going here where we can get at least 3 epics per 10 pop. That is the rate. I think it's 32% There we go. There's the third. And I think also on this 10 pop, we should be entering Mercy for legendaries. Now, of course, that does not guarantee that we're going to get a legendary. It just starts to increase the odds. We've got ourselves another Chinoru, who's not exciting. We've got Indalia, another Lady Mikage epic. Once again, don't really need here. Ambassador Lethlin is one of the few taunt champions in the game, but he places it on someone. The only place I've seen him used is like a troll team where you put taunt on Mortu Macabre and just have fun with peril. And then Spider, I used him once, I think, in the Cursed City, but he is a decent debuffer for an epic, although it's not as reliable as like a Lydia, for example, once you beat Faction Wars. So that was another 1,000 points. So we're at the 5,000-ish mark. So we still have 2,000 to go. We can just, okay, 3 epics. That's great. We got them out of the way. If we get one more, that should give us another 1,000. Fingers crossed. Okay, we're hitting it today. Oh, 5 epics, even better. Another 1,300 in the bag. End Moonbeam, another Lady Mikage epic. Man, if I didn't have Lady Mikage, we'd be just hitting it crazy today. But everyone else basically sucks. Obviously, Rector Wrath is amazing. That is going to be empowerment for her. I think from +2 to +3, if I'm not mistaken. But Farsalis, Gravedirt, terrible. Corellinium, pretty terrible. And Tashada, she got a buff a couple of years ago, and now she's a reviver on a 3-turn cooldown, and it's decent, but it's also the same faction as Scylla the Drakes, so, you know, you're probably not going to need her. So 6,600 is roughly where we should be in the champion chase, and I have no idea where on earth I got 30 primals was going to give us enough points, but definitely not the case. We hit pretty darn good luck here with the 4 to 5 epics per 10 pop, so we just need one more 10 pop of basically the same thing, 3 to 4 epics. Oh, legendary. Okay, we got the Mercy proc, and that is a duplicate of a previous fusion champion. I think that's probably our Mercy pull. But Gretel Hagbane, the, I think, Halloween fusion from last year. So that definitely puts us over the mark. Perfect, 1,300 points. So that should put us exactly where we need to be, just above the Mythical Tome. But yeah, I've never built the one that I do have, and this one is not going to do anything aside from be a faction guardian. But Sacred Order, I believe, is her faction, which might be useful. We'll kind of see if that rounds it out. That might be 10 out of 10. I have to double check. But she's like okay on paper, but she definitely doesn't hit as hard as you might think she should. But AoE attack, decreased turn meter here, which can fill her turn meter if people are killed, which could be nice if she hit hard enough to actually kill people. And we're going to talk about her by herself because most people aren't going to have the brother. Like myself, I don't have him either, but I do have 2 copies of her now, I guess. This one is like on paper, again, it seems kind of nice. It's a quad hitter, single target, and then it increases the ignore defense with every subsequent hit. So this should be able to put people down, and it resets the cooldown of the skill and it fills a turn meter by 50%, which is great, but it's not as good as, of course, an extra turn, which you'd probably prefer. But at the same time, maybe that's a little too powerful because she could just keep, quad hitting people and just taking them out one by one. Maybe that'd be too powerful. Who knows? We'll never know because that doesn't exist in the game. And then decreased defense on the A1. So not going to do anything for me, but hey, we'll take it. We hit Mercy for the legendary from the primals. So I guess we hit, well, we got 2 legendaries today, but we didn't hit Mercy on the Sacred. We did hit it on the primals. And then for the other epics here, or the epics here, Giscard, the Sigiled, nice empowerment for him. Good for Faction Wars again. I used him a lot for the provoking challenges in hard mode Faction Wars and a Moonbeam. Another Lady Mikage epic, and then Tarshan. Never had a reason to use him, but he is one of the few champions in the game that has turn meter fill plus increased defense, so notable for that AoE weaken as well. So interestingly enough, it looks like I made the perfect amount of space with the little room to spare, and I was kind of hoping that 40 primals tops and the 10 sacreds would get us there, and luck be on our side today. Can't speak apparently, but yeah, if we hop into the champion chase, we should double check my math, and we should be well above the 7,500 points, and we have gotten ourselves the Mythical Tome. I guess we also snuck into 10th place. So I don't know. Yeah, getting another 2,300 points is definitely a stretch. As I talked about in my free-to-play review for the anniversary path, I just don't have a lot of faith or hope in Eternal Soulstones. I mean, obviously they could be super powerful, but using my resources to get them, unless it's like in a Titan event or something where you have to invest a lot just to get close to, like, say, the Mythical Tome or the Souls or whatever else is being offered, then it feels worth it. But something like this doesn't really feel worth it to go deeper into, especially during 2x sacreds and whatnot. But mission accomplished. Mythical Tome acquired, legendary tomes along the way. Immortal Soulstone, we'll take that. Epic Tome, don't care about those. And then the Mortal Soulstone as well as a bonus energy. We'll save it for the fusion later this week. So real quick, let me double check on the Faction Guardians to see, did we get 10 out of 10 on Sacred Order? No, we did not, but we got extra defense. We'll take it though. It is 8 out of 10 for the Sacred Order. So the third or fourth maybe faction that's 8 out of 10. I still only to this day have one faction, Undead Hordes, at 10 out of 10. So we'll take it though. It's progress towards that. 10% defense. I'm trying to think of who that actually helps, if anyone. Defense, I guess Corvus is a little bit tankier. Glacé is a little bit tankier. Wixpell is a little bit tankier. Bigger shield, I believe, for him more specifically. Archbishop Pinthra, use him for Hydra. He's a little bit tankier. Lady Noelle, a little bit tankier. Sir Nick, yeah. So, I mean, it helps. It's more stats, keeps people alive, but it's not like monumental. There's no like defensive-based nuker here that I use or anything like that. But nonetheless, hey, we'll take it. More stats. And then, of course, the crown jewel for the day, at least for me personally, is going to be Lord Chamford here. So finally unlocked. So I have I'll have a slightly easier time keeping my team alive in the Iron Twins encounters, which is super useful for me. Not that it's a super hard dungeon anymore, at least for the folks more in the end game of things, but having Decrease Attack in the mix could keep my team alive. I do use a ninja primarily for that as my DPS, and so he's very, very squishy, of course, compared to the boss. So Decrease Attack could help him stay alive, which can enable him to be alive for more turns, to do more damage, to kill the boss faster, etc. So yeah, I am not going to sit here and complain. We did not get a mythical today, so you guys can celebrate in the comments below that finally he's not getting the cracked out crazy luck every single primal session, which is not true, to be fair, but it does feel like it, I do have to admit, as a outside observer. But I digress. Let me know in the comment section down below if you were pulling your sacreds and or primals this weekend, and let me know if you got something amazing. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that the mythical luck was passed on to you guys and you guys got your first, your second, and so forth. As always, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit that like button down below. It really does help out the channel. And also feel free to hit the subscribe button down below if and only if you are enjoying the content overall on this channel. Oh, and actually one more quick thing to mention. If you guys are capable of doing nightmare level chimera, at least, we are looking for one person in my clan here, the Unkillable Crew 2SNN. So we're looking for someone who's relatively speaking more so in the end game, again, capable of doing nightmare chimera. You don't have to be able to thrash it with the 500 million damage, but something more reasonable, at least getting the 1 key. So we are in the market for one individual, so try your luck. You can apply to our clan to see if you might qualify. So now that is all. Thanks for watching and have a good one.